Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Magic Maze on Mars. So this is the second Magic Maze game. It is similar or has a cousin of Magic Maze, which is fantasy characters in a shopping center. Sounds a bit odd. This is building up Mars so that you can inhabit it. There's been an awful lot of games that are that idea of building up Mars so you can inhabit it, of recent memory. And look, that's okay. I have no problem with that. Magic Maze on Mars is a vastly different intellectual game than Magic Maze. It uses extraordinarily similar concepts. So you cannot talk, you have a do something piece, the big red piece. You have a sand timer. You need to turn the sand timer over, so it's using other actions to turn that sand timer over to give you more time to do your thing. What you're trying to do is move some little resource markers along paths to open up new tiles and then to fill up spaces to create some kind of living domes, and then you bring some people in and put them into those living domes. This game, however, has a few intricacies. One of those intricacies is that you can only have one thing on a spot. So if you move let's say a blue piece into a space, you can't move anything else through that space until that blue piece has moved on. That's a little bit tricky. It changes how we think about stuff a touch, because we can get stuck with not being able to move anything because everything's trying to get around each other. The major difference, however, between this game and regular Magic Maze is that we are playing with color instead of direction. Now, that doesn't sound like a huge difference, but within the way our brain works, if I can only move that way or that way, then I'm just looking for that way and that way. And that's, it works. There's something in our brains that just allow that to work. Whereas if I can only move on yellow and orange, we get caught up on that a lot. I've found that playing this, less pieces have been brought onto the board than could have been brought onto the board, and we just focus on getting one piece through to somewhere rather than I'm doing this, and getting everything moving around. It's a tough game. In fact, I've found that the necessity for there to be modules in this game, there are only 5 modules to help us learn this game, but it is so important to use those. Even with people who have played regular Magic Maze, doing the very first module of this one is really important. I've found with Magic Maze, I can jump straight to module 3, I think it is, and play within module 3 because it's quite easy to keep track of all of those things that are built up in the first 3 modules. Whereas with this one, if I try jumping forward, it's too much for people to grasp. And I've done that a couple of times. I've made that mistake a couple of times with this game of trying to jump. Okay, Magic Maze. You guys have all played Magic Maze again. Let's play Magic Maze on Mars. These are the things, these are the things, these are the things. And everyone's just kind of going, it's so different. So vastly different that it just, you need to go right back to the beginning stage. In fact, the very first module of this game allows you to talk, which is different than Magic Maze because you're silent from the outset on that one. But with Magic Maze on Mars, it says, please talk. Play the first module, you are allowed to talk to each other and say, okay, you need to go here. They don't bring that do something marker until the second module. And even then, with the do something marker, they brought in a board that has little icons on it. So you can put the do something marker in front of a player and then put it onto a something. So you're saying you need to do this. And it kind of narrows down what they're looking for to need to do. So do I like this? Do I not like this? I don't know. I think I like the concept of it, but the actual playing of it, not anywhere near as much as Magic Maze. That's me personally. I mean, no, I'm not the hugest fan of the on Mars stuff. Don't misunderstand me. I do have some space games that kind of come into my way of playing a few times. But you know what? I've got On Mars, the Vita Lasada game that came out last year. I've got that game. Hasn't really been played, but I've got it. Magic Maze on Mars. I think it's using similar ideas, similar concepts of, oh, we need to build this, we need to build this, we need to build this. But it's a little bit more abstracted is probably the best way to put it. The once you get through to module 4, I think it is, they start bringing in trash. And trash is a really interesting thing because what it does is when you put the tile down, you add a piece of trash. It's a trash can or a meeple of a trash can. That can be moved within the same rules as moving other guys around. So if you've got the color in front of it, you can move it along that color. But it just fills up spots and gets really awkward in the way. So they brought in then some slugs that eat the trash. But slugs can only move if they're moving to a spot that has trash or another element on it. And when they land on that, they eat the thing. Which means I can be moving a blue piece around and then a slug could be moved onto that and I've then got to start again with the blue piece back to where its original spot is. But that might actually help the slug get forward to be able to knock out some trash for me for the future. But the slug is then taking up a spot which I can't move through. So kind of getting your head around all of this other stuff is so important. The art on this game is it feels like a Space on Mars kind of thing, but what I've also found is that you don't notice all the time the color coming out. So when a tile comes out, it might have a corner that is one color. That is talking about you can birth, for want of a better expression, a colored piece on that if it's matching color. So if there's a blue corner, which is the starting piece, you can birth blue pieces on there. When one comes out that has a yellow corner, you can birth yellow stuff on there. The problem is that when one comes out that has a brown corner, you don't always notice it because it's really similar in color to the red of Mars, which makes sense, of course it is, but it's actually brown disappears quite a lot in this game. Now, I've spoken about colors quite often in previous videos, and I'm very there's a necessity for me to talk on this because I can see color, but I'm color deficient. That little bit of color deficiency actually makes it really hard to distinguish between some colors. And so every now and then I will have a problem with having these two colors on the same board. Now, I really worry about someone who happened to be color blind. Now, having said that, each colored meeple or piece that you're going to be moving around the board has a different shape to it, and that shape is within the iconography of that color. So if you're, say, if there's a yellow color in the corner, there's a picture of the banana that you're going to put down and then move around. But I would suggest that this is not the right game to be playing with people who are struggling with color, simply because they aren't going to see, because each path is a different color and there's no real, not that I noticed anyway, iconography to distinguish them if they just all look grey to you. So that's a thing just keep in mind whenever you're about to play it. But I fear with this game that I have stopped my ability to be able to play it simply because I've tried to have a few groups jump straight to the third thing, and they've just gone, oh, there's too much going on, I can't handle this, let's move on to something else, let's put it aside. So please, if you are bringing this to a game table, please start with phase 1. Start with that first thing, and then if everyone's happy with that, then go to the second, then the third. Gradually build it up. I think that's the only way to get through this. My gameplay of this happens to be a solo play of it, and the solo play feels similar to how it normally plays, but I don't do well with it, so just bear that in mind. But I think that'll give you an idea of how the game plays and things that can happen. I didn't quite get to everything, but that's okay. If you have a look at the Gamesplanation, you'll probably get an idea of the other things that need to go on with this particular game. Look, I think I might leave that there. Please go ahead and watch my Gamesplaying Gamesplanation to get an idea or a concept of how Magic Maze on Mars actually works. If you have any games that you would like to be Gamesplained, please shoot me an email to thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaying. And until next time, enjoy gaming.